This is Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office, highlighting the office and deputies dedicated to providing law enforcement services and maintaining the trust and support of Rockingham County citizens, all while keeping neighborhoods and communities safe.
Hello everyone, and welcome to our September 2023 edition of Sheriff Spotlight with the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. I'll be your host for today's show, Lieutenant Kevin Southard. I'm the Public Information Officer here at the Sheriff's Office. And in the studio with us today, our very special guest is Colonel Alan Farrow, the Chief Deputy of the Rockingham County Sheriff's Office. Colonel, good morning to you.
Yeah, good morning, Lieutenant. Good to see you today.
Thank you. I know that you've been on the show before, and the viewers have met you before, but we may have some new viewers out there, some new listeners from the podcast. So I wanted to reintroduce you to any of the new folks and get you to talk a little bit about yourself, what you do as the Chief Deputy, some of your background. And I know you have not only a long career in law enforcement, but also in firefighting. You've served the community in Bethany as a firefighter and on up the ranks of that. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that and yourself before we get started?
Sounds good. Well, of course, I am Alan Farrow. I'm the Chief Deputy here at the Sheriff's Office, also the Colonel. I originally started here at the Sheriff's Office in 1995 as a dispatcher, and since that point, I've gone from a dispatcher to a patrol officer to a corporal, a sergeant, a lieutenant, captain in 2014 over the Field Operations Division,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2018 I took over as the Chief Deputy, working directly under the Sheriff. And so during that time I've been over the SRT team, which is the Special Response Team, School Resource Officers, K-9 program, dive team, just numerous things to come to that and as well. And as far as firefighting, I started in 1990 with the Bethany Volunteer Fire Department, served about 30 years there, and also had a 10 years as a full-time firefighter for the city of Greensboro. I still maintain my certifications in the fire service as well as an EMT certification. So a little bit of both worlds.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And also here at the Sheriff's Office, I do serve as an instructor. I have specialties in physical fitness and also have a specialty in explosives and hazardous materials.
Okay, all right. Now, as the Chief Deputy, you are the Sheriff's second in command and act as the Sheriff when he is not available.
Yes.
So just wanted to point that out. A lot on your shoulders.
It is. In his absence, I take care of the Sheriff's Office. I basically handle the day-to-day operations of the Sheriff's Office and oversee 4 captains, the Administrative Division, the Investigative Division, Detention, and also the Patrol Division. And so then that goes down from the captains to the other rank and file.
Now, you went to college, correct?
I did. I graduated from John Wesley College. I do have a bachelor's degree in management and ethics. And so did that. And also when I first started my career in 1995, I went to RCC, and that's where I started originally with an associate's degree in law enforcement criminal justice.
Okay, all right. So long background, well qualified. So here at the start of the program, let's take it back just a little bit. I want to go back to our September 11th ceremony, which is on our social media sites. If you missed it, we taped it. You can watch it. It was a great ceremony. Why don't you tell us a little bit about all of that?
It was. Again, we appreciate everybody coming out that day on September 11th.
Large turnout.
We did. Great turnout. We had beautiful weather that day.
Yes, sir.
And as we often mention, it is a very somber event that we have to remember. But at the same time, it is a happy event because we recognize the fallen soldiers, the public responders, the many citizens and victims that lost their lives on that day. And so it is important that we remember and continue to revisit it because, there's something I was seeing our special guest that day, she spoke about it. And, just the display of patriotism and just the love for one another, that we saw back on September 11th, it seemed to have faded away a little bit. And, I agree with her. We need to get back to that.
Yes.
We need to start looking out for one another. And her address was it was great. It was very, very good. It spoke to everybody there, got everybody kind of invigorated about, just patriotism.
Right.
And, in a time right now, we're seeing a lot of things out here that are bad. We need to look to each other and look out for your neighbor. Take care of one another. Do what we can.
Right. Look past our differences.
Look past our differences and just again, become that one united nation that we became after that. You had American flags flying, you had people signing up for the military, volunteer firefighters, people going into public safety, law enforcement, EMS. And we need to revisit that. We need to get people interested in that again, and just to show that support, and just again, for America, we do.
Right. Now here recently, and I know over the summer we started doing this in a lot of the churches here in Rockingham County, fentanyl town halls, and we recently did one in conjunction with the school system at Rockingham Community College. Why don't you tell us about that and why it's so important for, I know we're targeting middle school, high school, young adults, college, their parents and grandparents to come out for this informational town hall style meeting that we're putting on about fentanyl. Right. So why don't you tell us about that program?
Right. Well, as everybody knows, if you watch the media or the news, you're going to see that there is an epidemic in the state of North Carolina, Rockingham County, as well as the nation. And it's going to be fentanyl. We're suffering every day from overdoses. If you listen to the scanners, if you watch the media, you'll see them every single day. And in North Carolina, they average about 11 deaths per day from overdoses. And so, working in collaboration with the school system, we tried to get the message out. And we did our first town hall collaboratively with them a couple weeks ago at RCC. The information was sent out by social media through the school systems, as well as the sheriff's office and all the other media outlets. And is an attempt to get middle schoolers and high schoolers and their parents to come out and just get some awareness, information on the dangers of fentanyl. We also showed a video there, dead on arrival, and it's very strong, it is. And it puts it out there, and there were actually a teenager there that spoke, that saw the video and commented on the video. Because nowadays, our teenagers, they don't realize it only takes just a few small grains of fentanyl to be lethal. It's not like what 20 years ago, there was a lot of experimentation with teenagers and high schoolers. And back then, it was just as dangerous, but now it's even more dangerous.
Right.
Because they don't know the dangers associated with it.
Right.
And so that night, we probably had approximately about 75 people there. And we had great speakers. It was a town hall type setup, a good question and answer session. And I think a lot of good information was passed forward. The school system, I'm not going to speak for them, but they got a lot of information from the public there as well, some feedback. And I think you're going to see this moving forward because we have a responsibility to our kids, to our parents. Let's educate them. Let's do everything we can so that they don't become one of those 11 in North Carolina every day.
Right.
And also during that process, we talked about one pill can kill. And so, that's a collaborative effort with the federal agencies and law enforcement, and so we're doing that and just explaining the dangers there because you don't know what you're getting anymore. It was brought up that night in the town hall. A child or adult or somebody may try to get some type of narcotic pill to try to help with pain, but they don't know what they're getting. These new pill presses they have out there, they can press it with fentanyl and it can kill you.
Make it look just like the real pill that you think you're getting. I know Adderall is big in the college system and stuff like that, and they're putting fentanyl in Adderall. They say 6 out of every 10 pills that you buy on the street now contain fentanyl.
Right.
And you're basically just betting your life on a drug dealer's greed that he got it right, that he mixed it exactly right, and it takes, you couldn't even see the amount on the tip of this pen that it would take to kill you and I together of fentanyl. So you're just hoping, and what surprised me and as a parent when I first heard it, and the feedback that I get from the parents that come to these, and we've done several of these town halls at churches across Rockingham County over the past, during the summer too, while school was out. People don't know that fentanyl can come in different forms. They just think of it as a pill, and they've got it in powder form now. The drug cartels, and in liquid form, and liquid form is the one that nobody knows about because, marijuana, they're soaking marijuana in this fentanyl,
Correct.
liquid fentanyl.
Yes.
They're putting it in vapes. They can put it in vapes, and those are very popular
We're
amongst
having
the.
a huge problem with the vapes in
Right.
the school system. We are.
So you never know what you're getting. You may think, okay, well, I'm getting a Xanax, or I'm getting a joint. There's no such thing as just a joint
Not
anymore,
No.
because that may kill you.
Right.
So just like you said, there's no such thing as experimentation anymore.
And the thing is here, as parents, I'm a parent, I have a 15-year-old as well, and the thing is, we can't ignore it.
Right.
We've got to talk to our kids about it, because I don't know any parent that wouldn't say, not my child.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm here to tell you, it can be your child. It can
Exactly.
be any child out here, because you can't be with these kids 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So the important thing here is to inform our kids. I know we did that night, and I actually had my 11-year-old come up to it, and he was watching some of the information. So it's not too young to start.
Right.
We've got to inform our kids, because that's our responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And what we teach our kids now is going to last them a lifetime. And so we've got to do everything that we can to keep our kids safe. And if anybody has any questions about fentanyl, any of the programs coming up, please reach out to us, because we want to help our kids. We want to educate them. We want to make sure that they're safe. And if we can make that one impression upon one kid to not try something, we've succeeded.
Mm-hmm.
We do. Because every one of these victims of these overdoses, they are someone's child.
Right.
They're a daughter, they're a son, and they're a sibling of somebody.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got to take care of this younger generation. We've got to get them the information. And again, I can't impress upon the parents enough. Make sure you have these conversations. They may be uncomfortable, they may be tough, but it may save their life.
That's right. And we are continuing to have these town hall style meetings at various churches and stuff across Rockingham County, and we're still working with the school system. We'd like to try to get that video shown in the middle and high schools, and working with Dr. Stover, the superintendent, to continue with these town hall meetings as well, to inform parents and
Right.
the children of the dangers of all of this as well. Just like you say, I mean, there were representatives from the Fentanyl Victims Network
From
of North Carolina
Yes,
there as well.
yes.
And there were other victims who have been affected by fentanyl, lost loved ones, and so on and so forth. And I think the one thing that I've seen from all of these town hall meetings and talking with the victims and hearing their testimonies are the commonality is nobody thought it was going to happen to their child. Nobody believed this kind of thing happens around here in Rockingham County, or nobody thinks it'll affect them.
Right.
And that was one of the most surprising things, that
It is.
that you hear about, is the surprise of it, that it is going on, that it could happen to them. It did happen to them.
It did. And we
Yeah.
as parents, we've got to stay involved in our kids, because there's got to be a way that their kids, these victims, reached out to a drug dealer.
Right.
So, something else that I would stress when it comes to this, monitor your kids, monitor their cell phones, their social media, who they're
Absolutely.
being friends with, because they've got to have a way to communicate. And with the technology that they have available today, they can do it, and as parents, you may not ever know anything about it.
And that's very popular amongst the drug dealers today, is to get on the WhatsApp or the Snapchat, all these various different social media platforms and offer their drugs, and they do it in code. One thing that I make sure to tell all the parents, because some don't know this as well, my child says he's got the right to his privacy or whatever.
Right.
They've got the Constitution says they've got the right to privacy from the government, from us, all that good stuff. You're their parent. They don't have the right to privacy from you.
No.
And you're supplying them the cell phone. You need to know all those passwords. You need to get that phone and check it. I know I told my teenager when she got the phone that if I ever pick it up and can't get into it, she loses it.
Right, absolutely. And that's the thing. I don't know of any teenager or middle schooler that is paying for their own cell phone.
Oh, absolutely not.
So
yeah.
my comment to my kids were, you are borrowing that phone from me each day, and so if I want it back, it's mine. If
Right.
you give me any reason to question what you're doing, it's mine.
Right.
And so as parents, I think sometimes we kind of get caught up in, we owe them this or that. And you know
Yeah.
what? We owe them to keep them safe.
Yeah.
Is what we owe
To keep them alive.
We owe them to look out for them.
Right.
We are looking after them. We're raising these kids, and we can't be restraint. We can't use restraint when it comes to our kids. We
Right.
can't be cautious or apprehensive. They're our kids. We've got to protect them, because when you and I were growing up, we're not going to tell how long that's been.
No,
Things were a lot different back then.
they were.
The things that they are dealing with today, we had no idea.
Right.
So again, I stress to the parents, the guardians, grandparents, be involved in your kids. Know what's going on with your kids. Don't let them come home and lock themselves up and be antisocial in their bedroom or anything like that. Be involved, get engaged with them, do stuff with them. And I found that that's usually the best way to keep them from getting into trouble and doing things that they shouldn't. Be engaged, find sports, do something that they enjoy, extracurricular activities, anything like that, to keep these kids involved in stuff. And if you see any signs, any troubling behavior from your kids, isolation, their grades start falling, look into it. Don't just sit back and say, oh, they just had a bad day, it'll get better. We've got a responsibility. You got counselors at schools, you got teachers, you got administrative staff. Reach out to these individuals. Look after these kids. We've got to.
Absolutely. And another thing I want to point out too, one of the stories that touched me from one of the Fentanyl Victims Network mothers who lost their daughter. She was a college student at Appalachian, and she was at a college party, and she had an alcoholic beverage. She sat it down. She went to the restroom, and when she came back and got her drink and drank from it, she died.
Right.
They tested the drink, tested her. Somebody had slipped fentanyl into her drink. Again, that liquid fentanyl. So if your high school student or whatever is wanting to go to a party, know who's going to be there. Make sure that they've got parents. I know no parent wants to be a fuddy-duddy or anything like that, but number one, they aren't supposed to be drinking anyway.
Right.
But number two, it could be deadly.
It could be.
It could be deadly. So
that one drink, that one pill, anything. And the thing is, parents, don't be your kids' friends.
right.
I see that a lot of times. That comes up in discussions. It's hard to parent and be a friend at the same time. Talk to your kids about these issues. If they get into a situation that they're compromised or peer pressure, they've got to understand all they got to do is call you, text you. You'll come get them. Regardless of what's taking place,
Right.
I will come get you.
Right.
We'll go home. Now, there may be consequences later,
Right.
but right now, I want you to be comfortable. I want you to call me if you get in trouble.
Right.
And that's what your kids have got to understand. And then you'll deal with it.
Right.
That's the main thing. So, but again, our kids are faced with a lot of issues today, and we have got to be involved in them. And it's not all on the school systems. It's not on law enforcement. It's not on the church. It's a collective
It's a
effort
community
between
effort, yeah.
everybody. They've always said it takes a community to raise a child. And so you can't say, well, they're at school for 7 hours a day, they'll take care of it. Well, we've got to work together, as a community to look after our kids and change their way of thinking. We've got to.
That's right. The landscape has changed so much since you and I were in
Yes.
school. It's incredible.
It is.
It's scary
Absolutely.
to think about. Okay, let's move on. This is to a little more upbeat topic. We're entering festival season here in
yes.
Rockingham County.
We are.
Fall festival, street festivals. A lot of the cities are having basically every weekend there's something going on somewhere. A lot of fun. We're part of a lot of that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, what to expect, and
Oh yeah. Well, always as fall of the year comes along, the weather changes. You got crisp air, nice cool mornings. So I look forward to it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
thank you. Yes,
It's been a hot
yes.
summer, and I know last weekend we were out at Riverfest in Eden. That kind of kick-started the festival season.
Huge
so
crowd.
It was
a lot
beautiful
of stuff.
weather, huge crowd, and like you said, it just kick-starts the fall. We may go from Stoneville to What the Hay and May&M, Madison festivals, trick-or-treating, that time's coming up too, but there's a lot of time and effort put into these festivals. They want the community to come out, be a part of the community. They want to showcase the artists that we have here, the crafts that are made here, and from other places. But come out, it's a great time to meet people. You got a lot of vendors set up, you've got booths set up, we'll be set up, the sheriff's office will have a
Right.
booth there, come out and see us. We may have some goodies there for the kids, for the parents if you want them to.
Right.
But it's a great time. We get out there and interact with people. And,
Yeah.
and I think that's the biggest thing. The citizens, they come out, they see what we do, they can ask what we're doing, and it's just great community involvement. I have a great time going out and just speaking to the people as you do, And it's a fun time of the year, absolutely. But please come out and enjoy these festivals. I know the social media, they put them out. Our local media here in the county, they put the events out, but check them out, come out to them, and again, nothing like some funnel cake or
That's right.
a big old glass of lemonade at these festivals to enjoy yourself.
And they almost always do have some sort of dedicated kids section, bouncy houses, all kinds of things for the kids to do as well. So good, wholesome fun. I tell you, one of the things that I enjoy most about going to these festivals, and really any kind of community event that I attend, a lot of times if you interact with a sheriff's deputy or a police officer, it's not your best day.
Right.
Whether you're the victim of a crime or you're committing one, generally folks aren't as happy to see us as they are at the festivals and whatnot, and that just gives us an opportunity to interact with the public, for them to see that we're human beings just like they are. We cut up, carry on, and talk and answer questions and do, just have a good time with them and enjoy the festivals ourselves while we're out there. So
there's so much interaction, so much of today is, we focus on, what's the bad going into society. You watch the news and it's nothing good sometimes, but this is the opportunity to come out, see the goodness in people and just have a good time. And again, just like you mentioned too, we're normal everyday folks too. We've got kids, we deal with the same things that everyday people do, and it's nice to get that human effect on it. Come out, talk to us, meet us. And the thing is, we know a lot of the people in the communities. We've grown up with them, went to school with them. We've both been here at the sheriff's office going on 28 years.
Yeah.
We've met a lot of people out there, and we see a lot of the same faces, and it's great, absolutely. So please come out to these festivals, stop by our tent, we'll be there set up and get some goodies there. And if you have any questions for us, ask the questions, introduce us to your kids, and let us make friends with them. Because we want them to like us. We want them to come to us if they ever need help.
That's exactly it. They should run to us, not away from us. They should, if they ever have a problem and need help, they should know that they can come to us. And that's one of the things too that I enjoy about that is interacting with the children. We use seized drug dealer money that we get to buy the stuff that we give away at these festivals, which always seems to tickle folks that get, but we give out coloring books and pencils and stickers and all this kind of stuff to the kids. And they're usually appreciative of that. We talk to them. Again, we cut up, carry on with the kids and have a good time. And it is so important that they learn we're not the bad guys.
Right. And it's important to learn about the sheriff's office. There's a lot of things they may not realize we do.
Right.
From running a detention facility to serving civil papers to warrant service. We have canines. We just have all kinds of things. And, we love telling people about what we do at the sheriff's office. Just come up, trust me. We'll talk to you 5, 10, 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll take good care of you.
We don't have any problems talking to you.
No, we do not.
Absolutely.
So, looking forward to seeing everybody at the festivals, absolutely. Bring the kids out.
We've talked about the festivals. We've got another community event coming up, Envision Career Days.
Yes.
Here. Why don't you tell us about that, who all's involved? I know we're going to be a part of it, but what it is, and invite the folks to come on out and take part in it as well.
Well, absolutely. It's called Envision Rockingham County Youth Career Expo. It's actually taking place October 5th and 6th at Rockingham Community College. One day, 7th graders are coming out, and the other day, 10th graders are coming out. This is another one of our collaborative efforts between, employers in Rockingham County, the school systems, the college, Rockingham County government, everybody, all the cities, municipalities. And what it is, we're trying to expose what we have in Rockingham County to these 7th and 10th graders. And because, if you're in 10th grade, you're looking to start college, you may be looking at a vocational type job or whatever it is.
Thinking about the future.
Exactly, thinking about the future. But they're going to have this program set up. We'll be there set up, so you can come out, learn about the sheriff's office. But as far as I know, all the schools in the county are participating in it. So they're going to come out, and it is focusing on Rockingham County. That's where our kids are going to school, they grow up, they may go off to college, but we want to get as many of them back in Rockingham County.
We want them to come back, absolutely.
It may be manufacturing, it may be public safety. There's a lot of good things going on in Rockingham County. And this is an opportunity to expose those so the kids can say, well, look, I don't have to go way away. I can come back home if I want to.
Right.
And so, but we're looking forward to it. This is the first one as far as I can remember.
I believe it is, yeah.
And so if anybody's got any questions or anything, you can contact, it's Betsy Brame at Rockingham Community College, and she will have more information on it. I don't know if the deadline has passed about having a booth or whatever, but if you're interested, contact her.
Certainly call and ask, and hopefully they can squeeze you in. Like you said, it's so important that we get these young folks back here, and hopefully we can get some interested in law enforcement. I know you and I can't do this forever. We've been doing it a while, but we can't do it forever. And so we need that next generation to come along and eventually take our spots. And the same thing with EMS, and the same thing with all these textiles and manufacturing jobs and stuff like medical field. Yes.
There's all sorts of things.
Firefighters, all of the public safety in particular. I know that's more our realm. And we've seen shortages in all those areas. With folks being interested, the younger folks being interested in coming into these fields, and they're just so important that hopefully we can turn that around.
Right. Well, and if we expose them to what's going on, law enforcement has evolved, firefighting, EMS, all your public safeties has evolved over the years. From what we were 30 years ago to what we are now, just from technology to the pay, everything has increased. There's so many different things to do. And that's what part of this Envision program is going to have a lot of hands-on too. So there may be fire trucks there, EMS trucks, law enforcement will have setups. But that's not to take away from all the other fields in the county. Like you said, from nursing, manufacturing.
Auto mechanics. Yes, we need all of these people. Plumbers, just all these jobs are so important to the communities. And hopefully we can get folks interested in them, and the young folks, and just like you say, have them stay here or come back and participate in Rockingham County, making Rockingham County, continuing to make Rockingham County a great place to live.
Oh, absolutely. So, it's going to be a great event. Like you said, the first ever expo, so please, everybody, come out to the Envision Rockingham County Youth Career Expo, and we look forward to seeing all the kids there, because we'll be there.
Yep, absolutely. All right. I know school's already started, but we're still early in the school year. Why don't you talk a little bit about how important school bus safety is? People are still getting adjusted. They're getting into a routine now with as far as dropping kids off and seeing the big buses back on the road and adjusting their commute times in the morning and stuff like that. But will you reemphasize to our listeners and viewers out there the importance of school bus safety?
Oh, absolutely. A lot of the viewers, you may have seen the school bus safety video that we did right before school started, and now we're about a month into school. And so, like you were saying, people have learned to kind of adjust their schedules, leave a little bit earlier, a little bit later, whatever the case may be. But the most important thing is look out for our school buses. That's the main thing. Pay attention. Don't be texting. Don't be doing things that distract you from what's going on the road. These school buses, they've got one of our most important commodities on board. They've got our kids.
That's right.
That's the future. They're our kids. We've got to take care of them again, like we were talking about a while ago. But watch for these school buses. If they've got the stop arm extended, the stop sign, stop. Don't run through these lights.
Don't slow down. Yeah. Don't just slow down and keep going. Yeah.
Don't just idle by it.
Yeah.
There was an incident last year, I think, in Guilford County where a student got hit. And it kind of goes along with the drug issues. Don't think your kid can't get hit because they've got to be careful. And I know we've worked collaboratively with all the municipalities in the county, the highway patrol, and making sure that we've been watching these bus stops. If we have any trouble areas, we try to do some patrol in these areas as well. And so watch out for these stop school buses. Don't just run past them, because you never know, there could be a law enforcement officer, nearby watching. And I will add, that's one of the most points that you can get. If you're convicted of passing a stop school bus. Yeah. And your insurance company doesn't.
That'll raise it way up. Exactly. And be careful of it for these kids on the side of the road as well. Watch out for them. I mean, sometimes they're not paying attention or whatever else. Parents, instill that into your kids. Pay attention when they're over there at the road. But drivers, watch out for them as well.
Absolutely. It's another collaborative effort. Parents, inform your kids when they're getting on the school bus. School bus stop safety. Make sure you look both ways before you have to cross that street. Just be careful. You can't be too careful out here. And again, to the drivers, please just be cautious. Watch out to what's going on here. And there's a lot of questions sometimes about, it's a 4-lane divided highway, or it's a 4-lane highway with a turning lane. You know, if you need information on this, look it up online. It's there. Because sometimes, you know, it can be confusing to people.
All right.
So there may be a time that you can proceed past it. Like if it's just an example, freeway drive. If a bus stop's there, it's divided, you know, you can go by on the other side. But it may be a different street that you can't. So just be well informed about this. That's the main thing. And again, be careful. Watch out for our kids.
Absolutely. All right. I want to close out the show. We've got, it's September, but we've got October coming up. I know our next month's podcast is scheduled toward the end of the month. And so I want to make sure that we'll touch on this topic again, but I want to talk about Halloween safety tips.
Absolutely.
Just go ahead and throw that out there because people will be having some Halloween parties and such as October starts up and we get into spooky season.
Right.
A lot of folks will be out there having fun and whatnot.
Trick or treat time.
Absolutely. So why don't you go over a few Halloween safety tips for us?
You know, Halloween's coming up, you know, be looking out. I think Halloween actually falls on a weekday this year. So a lot of the stuff may be going on the weekend. You know, we've seen the trunk or treats have become kind of the norm now. You know, where you can take your kids to a safe environment in a parking lot and let them trunk or treat there and get all the candy that they want.
They can rack up.
They can
rack up in one spot.
They can, exactly. And those are nice. They're safe. A lot of churches do them, schools, all types of, you know, businesses. They set these things up. And, you know, a lot of the municipalities, you know, they have the trick-or-treat downtowns a lot of times. And so everybody's worked on this, trying to make it as safe as they can for the kids. Now, there will still be some trick-or-treaters that go out at nighttime. So be careful. Carry a flashlight. Make sure that the mask that you wear, that you can see out of them. You know, always be in groups. Don't go out by yourself. You know, that's another big thing there, too. You know, be careful of the food that you take in. You know, make sure that you get it, that you check it. You know, make sure that it looks safe. Don't eat anything that the wrapper may be tampered with or anything like that. So there's a lot of just common sense things to use when you do this and go out. And there'll be a lot of kids out during these events, so watch out for them. Drivers, be careful. You know, sometimes these costumes aren't the brightest things that they are out there. They're going to be kind of doom and gloom. They're going to be dark.
Right.
And so watch out for these. Parents, if you need to put a traffic vest on your kids, put one on them. If they're walking through a development or a neighborhood. And you know, sometimes they don't want you with them, but you can kind of walk back behind them.
Right.
So, but please, you know, look out for our kids. Keep them safe if they're out there. You know, and again, if you don't want to go out in the neighborhoods, there's plenty of events. Just watch the media, social media, and all these trunk or treats, churches, everywhere. Just watch those, but be careful. You know, that's going to be the main thing out there, and just be as safe as you can. Absolutely.
And you know, you mentioned the municipalities, the townships having street trick-or-treat kind of thing going on. I know Stoneville, town of Stoneville reached out to me just before we started this podcast, as a matter of fact, taping the podcast. They're going to have one there on Halloween. I believe it's a Tuesday from 3 to 6 there in the main part of town. Come out and check that out.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
And I know the town of Madison, they do one every year. The businesses, they get together and they go down and just rack up there. And I ain't gonna lie, I've gone and got some candy too. But
absolutely, yes.
Absolutely, but you know,
the trunk or treats are great. We always take the kids to a couple of the trunk or treats that are going on, and I know my son, he loves that. He racks up.
And the churches, you know, a lot of times, like our church, for example, they make a competition out of trunk or treat.
Oh yes. That's one of my favorite parts about going to it.
You can see how wild.
Yes.
I mean, there's all kinds of stuff in the backs of these cars and SUVs. So, but it's a fun time of year, but it's also a time of year to make sure that you stay safe. That's going to be the biggest thing. Stay safe.
Absolutely. Well, Colonel, we appreciate you joining us on the show today. Be sure to tune in next month in October for our next podcast, Sheriff Spotlight, and we'll see you then.
Absolutely. Have a great day.